I'm here at NeuFit, one of the places here in Austin that I come, 3-4 times a week, as much as I can possibly get here to get better. And this is one of the most amazing rehab facilities ever. Garrett, explain to people what you do here. It's different than anything I've experienced.
So everything that we do here is very neurologically focused. We are attempting to train his nervous system to better control his muscles so that they can do what he wants them to do. And the way that we go about doing that is pretty unique because we're able to, through our different diagnostic and evaluation processes, find very precisely where his neurological patterns are off, where there's some dysfunction or limitation. And once we find those, we have some techniques and technology that we use here to very precisely reprogram those neurological patterns. And by doing that, by working at that level, rather than just trying to build mass or fight against in these other limitations, by changing the underlying neurological signal, we can change his ability to perform in a very short period of time. And so with Alex, we've seen, specifically, we've seen him overcome his bicep tear, get back, restore function pretty quickly and efficiently, and then also improve range of motion in the squatting position and a few other things that we've been able to work on together.
So Garrett, the first time I came in here after the surgery, so I tore my bicep completely, not dislocated, but I broke the bicep tendon.
Yep.
And it had to be reattached. And so you can tell, left arm, right arm, this one's a little bit smaller, and actually it feels a ton smaller. It feels like somebody else's arm sometimes, but
it's coming back.
It's coming back. And the first time I came in here, you gave me a bar, and I remember trying to lift it, and this arm just didn't want to work. It was like it was all disconnected. Mm-hmm. You put an electrical pad here. You put an electrical pad here. We taped them down, and then we did it on both. I think we just did it on one arm the first time. Mm-hmm. I held a fat grip, and I moved my arm around, and then about 5 minutes later, you gave me the bar, and I was able to do a fluid curl. Mm-hmm. I've been in rehab so many times in my life. Adam earlier said, have you ever been out? And I don't know if I have. But I've never had 1 hour. It was so hard to reconcile how quickly the electricity had worked in an hour. How is that?
So it's a matter of signals and communication, ultimately. Forget about the injury itself, just the trauma of surgery. When he had incisions and a tendon reattached on his forearm and all of the associated trauma with that, because of all that trauma around the elbow joint, there's reflexes that are going to be activated that are going to shut down all the muscles around the joint. The joint is basically saying, even though it's been put together and it's actually now stronger and safer, because of that trauma, the joint is essentially saying to all the muscles around it, I'm compromised, something's wrong, don't move me, I'm at risk. So we essentially found, where the muscles were being shut down based on how he responded to the signals we were sending from our machine. And when we found those areas, that were being limited, we were able to stimulate them and teach them to come back online, essentially change that signal very, very quickly so that they were able to move again. That governor that was coming from the reflexive signal here, we were able to lift so that he was able to move in a matter of really a few minutes of live time on the machine.
It really was a few minutes. So Garrett, since I've been coming here, I've hung out with professional athletes, Olympic athletes, college athletes, high school athletes. I mean, it's everybody. I come in here and it's amazing how many people in Austin, like you're a magnet for elite athletes. But what blows me away is the range of conditions that you treat here, because I've seen elite athletes come in and, even when they're injured, they look like they're in insane shape. But I've also watched, people who are older and not in shape limp in and walk out. Mm-hmm. How is it that you can treat that range from the most incredibly athletic, where it's very hard for me to do this work, but then it can be gentle enough for someone who is geriatric and needs some help with very gentle rehab?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very interesting point you brought up, and one of the things that makes my experiences here so rewarding is that wide range. We're not just helping athletes get better to make an extra $1 million next year.
Yeah,
that's fun too.
But it happens.
And yeah, and if people want to, if they're really willing to work hard to achieve that maximum of the potential that's inside of them, and push that last extra 0.5%, that's very rewarding. It's also rewarding to help a 92-year-old walk without a wheelchair.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen people come in like literally being I get excited, Garrett, because the first day that I was here and that happened, I got chills. I watched a woman come in. She had trouble getting in, and she like sat down gingerly, and I watched her an hour later kind of hop up and walk out. It's in it, and I know that because I've been here. I know that doesn't last forever, and that there, it kind of goes away a little bit, and you have to come back and boost it back up. But I've been in rehab places my whole life, never seen it.
So in terms of that range and how we're able to work with that range, just remember what you're doing here and what a 7-year-old or a 92-year-old is doing. We're pushing each individual to his or her maximum level of their ability. So it's individualized in that respect. And whereas you may perceive this as being overly traumatic, when you're at a level of 80% on the machine, someone else may be at a level of 10% on the machine, and that may be traumatic and challenging and the limit of what they can handle. So it's individualized in that respect. And another reason that we're able to help such a wide range of people is that everything about us is controlled neurologically. Not only how we move and how our muscles work, but also how we digest food and eliminate waste, how we regulate our blood pressure and our heart rate, our cognitive function, how we react emotionally during the day. Everything is neurologically focused or neurologically controlled. And so when we focus on improving the health of the nervous system, that underlying control function improves, and therefore everything else downstream, all these other functions can improve too. How we experience or don't experience pain, our range of motion, all these other things. By focusing on the mother system, as I like to say, everything else downstream has a chance to work better.
We correct the neurological system, and even a slight correction in the neurological system that controls metabolism and circulation and our blood pressure and our hydration and our elimination of toxins, our absorption of nutrients, all of those things. You get a slight variation in the neurological system, and the cascade effect is exponential because everything improves. And that's what I felt. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Garrett, thank you. This has been amazing, and look forward to coming back. Thanks, brother.
Amen.